Welcome to Co-op Mode, Round 47. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I'm your host, Todd Oxtra, joined by the Canardian, Mark Carabin. How you doing, buddy?
I am good. I'm very excited to talk video games. I'm excited to get back into it. We've got some great stuff to talk about today and a very special guest. So I'm always excited to talk to the Nintendo Guru. Bobby, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing, man?
Great.
Did we leave our number? I couldn't remember how this happened. How did you get let back into the co-op mode?
He literally just was like, hey, Mark reached out to me. Because he's like, Todd doesn't really want you on, but apparently he booked a guest and they backed out on us, so I need help. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm the mercy guest. So.
No, we are happy to have Bobby. He's a good friend. Yeah, he is back and better than ever. When he's not living on an island with his fanciful friends, playing games with them. He is on YouTube. He's on Twitch. He's all over the place. He's having fun. Bobby will get to picture stuff at the end. But other than that, what have you been playing? What have you been playing, buddy?
Man, I've been playing. Okay, so obviously Animal Crossing, but we don't want to discuss that, right? We want to do something different. We want to do something fresh. I have dove into Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Started this last weekend. I'm about chapter 4 now, and I am in love with this game. So originally I picked this game up on the 3DS, put a little bit of time into it, but I really wasn't digging the graphics too much. Like, it just felt kind of wonky and whatever. I appreciated what they were able to do by all stretches of the imagination to be able to get to fit a Wii game on the 3DS. And then during the Wii U, they actually brought the Wii edition over to the Wii U, and I bought that version and I started to play it, and I got a little bit further than I did in the than the 3DS version. But I was just like, I was doing some other stuff. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, I actually just started going through the whole divorce thing. So I stopped playing, tried to refocus life and all that stuff, and then picked it up because I saw Joe after work playing had bought the special edition of it. And I was like, oh my God, let me see if it's available. And it was available on Amazon. So I bought the special edition, got that, because I have the special edition of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And, dude, this game is so good. It looks gorgeous. It really is a thing of beauty, man. The music is amazing. I love the voice acting. I love the storyline so far. It's one of those stories that just tugs at the heartstring, and it is so good, man. I love it.
Isn't there like a famous voice actor in this game, or a couple? Like stars who did this a long time, did the voice acting originally, and
maybe, I don't know. I couldn't even begin to tell you. I just know that Shulk is, I didn't even know who Shulk was until Smash. And then, I fell in love with Shulk during Smash, and then this just was like, I got to try it. I got to give it a roll. So it's good stuff, man.
How far are you in it now? Like, how many hours-ish?
Probably, hours-wise, I'm probably pushing 10, give or take. Because what I do is I play each night. I play about an hour each night. Right. Like tonight I was waiting for dinner to finish, and I was just sitting there playing and had dinner, and I jumped in for a little bit more, and I just jump in here and there a little bit as I can. But it's a winner.
Awesome.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. And I know even people said they liked the Wii version better than the 3DS, and they added essentially an epilogue that's like 20 hours long.
They added a whole bunch to it, like basically some sort of amazing stuff. But storyline wise, it is one of these stories that like just rips your heart out right in the get go, and then it pulls you right in like hardcore. So it's good.
So I found the one of the voice actors who was in this, and it's Jenna Coleman, who actually was the companion to Doctor Who. So I knew there was someone that was in this, but they did the original voice acting in 2012, so she would have been very young.
That's awesome. One of those. So does it pull at your heartstrings the entire time? So is this like 200 hours of just?
No. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it does. Like there's some really heartfelt moments in there's something major that happens right out the gates that like just really what sucks you right into the game. It's very similar to if you did mess with or anybody that played Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The games you're playing along and you're like, okay, I get what you're doing here, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, man, this moment happens and it's like, oh, wow. Like it just pulls you right into the game. And then you're like, okay, let's go, So it's really cool.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. It's just and my son's always looking for. He's really into JRPGs. He's really breaking out. So I'm trying to think of things that he would really love.
This is one. Yeah, this is one, man. This is really, really good. JRPG kind of the battle mechanics are very different, where all the characters are kind of attacking and moving around the enemy at the same time. But you can also kind of, as you start to chain attacks together, you start to link your attacks. Takes a little bit, but I think a kid like Logan would fall in love with the way the mechanics are and how in depth they are. They really are deep when you get into them. So it's pretty cool.
How long of a game is that?
I think it's like 100-something hours. Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't really exaggerating, like 200 hours. Yeah. Like I don't think it's that much, but I think it is, upwards of 100 or more. Worth the money. You definitely get your money's worth of it for sure.
I was gonna say a penny per hour. Mark, you've been playing a couple of games, and I'll be honest, the first one, I don't know if this is one of the older games, one of the newer games, because they've made so many and I lose track.
Well, you're kind of right on both accounts. It is a brand new game. So I've been playing Shantae Revenge Director's Cut. I was lucky enough to get a code from our friends at WayForward. They're always really, really good to send stuff over to let us check it out and give little reviews. However, that doesn't make me speak highly about this game. I've loved this series for longer than I've been podcasting for sure. And I actually played this game when it was originally released back in 2010 on the Nintendo DSi. So if you remember the DSi, it was like a DS, only had more. I think it had internal storage, and it was like a DSi shop, so kind of a precursor to the eShop. And there were these little games, so this was one of them. And there are a few other really good games on the DSi shop. I wish they'd kind of bring that back in some capacity, but anyway. So this one was one of those. The Director's Cut just landed on PS4. Xbox One, Switch, and Windows 10. I believe it will be hitting PS4 if it's not out already. But anyway, it's I've been playing it on Switch. It's great handheld on TV. It looks just like it used to. So they've cleaned up the graphics a bit. I think because, the DSi screen wasn't fantastic, but, it still has the sprite based. It's not like it's hand drawn like the newer games in the series. So it's a really cool throwback to how the series started. Now, there are some like HD character portraits. So you see the new art style along with the old. They've done other little under the hood improvements, but for the most part, this is like pixel perfect. You can actually do a few different modes of how to look at the game. So the default one, the one I've been playing with, either has black bars on the side or has like little artwork on the side, like most of those kind of retro games do. You can also do stretched mode, which I think looks really bad. I don't know, like if you really want to stretch the game up, but it looks like a normal stretch mode. So everything's just wide and wonky looking. There's also a cool one that I used for a little bit, don't really love it, but it's cool to kind of see almost pixel perfect mode. And that kind of puts black bars all around the screen, and you get this tiny little DSi screen on your Switch or whatever. So it is kind of funny just to see like how much better screens are now and how much bigger and all that kind of stuff. But it's cool to see it in that pixel perfect mode if you want to. So this is only $10. Like I said, it's a Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, Windows 10. It is out now at the time you're listening to it. If you are an old fan like me of this series, this is a great one that you might have missed because I don't think the install base on DSiWare was super good. So a lot of people probably missed this one. If you've only played newer Shantae games, this might be a great way to go back because, like I said, there are some quality of life improvements. And you can still do the usual Shantae things like transforming into a monkey, elephant, mermaid, whatever, meeting all the different clans. It plays surprisingly similar to a modern Shantae game. Like I said, considering it came out 10 years ago on the DS, it's really cool to see both how much this series has changed, but also how much has remained the same. So really cool. Pick it up for $10. And once again, thank you, Way Forward, for always being awesome for sending those codes.
That's awesome. Did you know that Limited Run Games, and I don't know if you ever watched their E3 presentation or what we were calling it at the time, but they did a Limited Run Games version of the Game Boy Color cart.
Yes.
That came out in 2002.
Yeah. Yeah. Limited Run has some really, really cool stuff. And I couldn't remember if there was a limited run for this game, like a physical release. I know this is digital right now. So if you're a physical kind of person, yeah. I think there is going to be one. Yeah. So yeah, really, really, I don't know. I love this series. Like I said, so it's like, I might be a bad person to talk to about this, but like anytime I see something new for Shantae, I'm like, I need to play it. Gotta have it. Like what do you guys have any kind of history, or do you like this series?
I mean, it's okay. I think it's a quirky, not a quirky, that's a bad word for it. I think it's a cute, like a very well drawn platformer. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Every time I've tried to play the games, they just don't pull me in. But I understand why people like them. I can see why they like them. I just don't feel like I'm the target audience for them. I just can't get roped into them for some reason. And I bought a couple. A couple that came out on the Switch. I picked them up to give it a shot, but it's just not for me.
Right. Do you like? I know you like. Sorry, Bobby. I know you like Metroid.
Yeah.
Do you usually get hooked with other Metroidvanias, or
I do.
Is Metroid kind of? Yeah.
Right. No, I mean I typically get hooked into Metroidvanias. It depends on what it is and what, but usually I do. Yeah. I don't know what it is with this particular game. I don't know why. I think the character is gorgeous. I think the character is drawn to perfection. Mm-hmm. It might be the characters in it overall. They just seem real kid-like to me.
Yeah, they're cute. They're cute. We talked about this on the show before, I think with the last game releasing, that especially like the cutscenes are so well done that I would love to see this as like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
And when you have cartoon-ish characters like that, sometimes they're going to rub people the wrong way, and some people it's going to take a little bit more to get into. For me, I think part of it is that nostalgia part that I loved this series from when it came out right up till now. And it's the same way that I'll play other games that I'm like, I don't know, I'm probably too old to be the target audience of this, but at the same time, I love it just because I do, because, I always have. Todd, sorry, I cut you off there.
Oh, that's okay. I actually really there's a couple of Shantae games I think of on the Xbox Game Pass. I think that there's one at least I think I tried there, and it was more of the pixel art, and I don't love the pixel art. I like the hand drawn, so I'm glad they've gone that. And actually, the last game I played on my Wii U was Shantae Half Genie Hero. Beautiful game. Absolutely loved it, and I do want to play the new one that came out on Apple Arcade. I think I've got a couple of days left on my initial free trial that I want to try out because I think that's a perfect game for it. So that's really cool. I love Way Forward. Way Forward basically keeps doing horribly licensed games so they can keep going back to their own franchises.
Pretty much, yeah. For every what's the Bakugan?
Ben 10? Was it
something?
Ben 10?
It's I don't know. Anyway, yeah. For every one of those games that I don't super care for, we get a Shantae, and whether it's a re-release or a brand new game, I'm happy to get as much Shantae as we can handle. So and the last game, and that's the thing, like the last game came out right when Finn was born, so I played that a lot in the hospital, and I was so happy about that game. And then seeing this game, it was like, oh man, he's almost 5 months old now. It's been 5 months since I played a Shantae game. So
did you try to make him play it? He's too young, Mark. Sorry.
No, you know what? He keeps getting frustrated. He's like, "What do you mean pixelated?" And he throws the controller. He's like, "Bring back the cartoon." So he's a very angry drunk. But anyway, I got to replace my Pro controller now.
Aw.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
Love that kid.
So very briefly, I've also been playing a game called Spellbreak, which is a battle royale game, kind of Fortnite meets Harry Potter. You get magical spells. You can kind of fly limited distances and this kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool where instead of guns, you get powers, basically. So magical powers. So you can start off, you can pick one power, fire, lightning, earth, water, whatever. And then you can pick up another one. So it's basically left hand, right hand. And you can combine spells to make big explosions and different things. And the combinations are really cool and kind of work into end game play. If anyone's been playing Fortnite with the Marvel stuff, Marvel limited, like the limited time mode, where you can get a power up, you'll also be maybe kind of familiar with how this game goes, where you can get a power up as well. So you can do extended fly time, invisibility mode, all this kind of stuff. I've been playing this on Switch, but I think it is available everywhere. And it looks and plays really, really nicely on Switch. So yeah, I don't know. I just kind of wanted like a little break from Fortnite, and another guest that we'll be having on in a little bit recommended this game to me. So I said, you know what? It's free. I'm going to jump in and try it. And Bobby, have you played any battle royale game? I know you were on Fortnite for a little bit.
Fortnite for a long time, yeah.
Yeah. You've dropped out to focus on Animal Crossing. Have you dabbled in any of the others?
I mean, Tetris 99 would be it, but not like actual fighting ones.
Yeah.
I almost got the new one on Switch. Well, Spellbreak is a new one, I think, but then there was another new one.
Spellbreak just hit, and Rogue Company is the other.
That's it. Rogue Company is the other one that I was looking at, and I almost got it, but I didn't.
It's free now too. I think it went.
I downloaded Rogue Company. I haven't even started it up yet because I liked Spellbreak so much. I got both at the same time, and I've been like super hooked on Spellbreak. So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
See, I like the aesthetic. I like the magic part because it looks neat. It's kind of and that looks really cool. And I've heard some really good things about it. People like the world they've created. So I think that's awesome. It doesn't seem like a very difficult game to pull off on Switch, which is great. So
it runs
more the merrier. Yeah. I love it.
I was surprised because I like I said last time, I sold my Xbox One X. I've been trying to play a bit of Fortnite on PlayStation, but I just hate that bloody controller so much. And so when it came to Spellbreak, I was like, you know what? Okay, well, I'm going to just try it on Switch and see how it runs. If it looks terrible and plays terrible, I'll buckle down and play it on PlayStation. But yeah, that's and one of the reasons that I ordered the Steel Series Arctis 1 that I was talking before we started recording is to play these games on Switch, because right now I don't have a Switch headset unless I plug my headset in handheld mode, and I don't want to play like that. I want to play docked on my big TV. Like, just let me do both. So this Arctis 1 is going to allow me to do that. So to be Spellbreak, Fortnite, whatever I can play on Switch, it's going to be good.
Mm-hmm. Nice, good to hear that, man.
Yeah, try it out for sure.
I think I will. I'll give it a try. Why not? I'm trying to look, broaden my horizons, be a mature gamer. Just step out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, you can do solos, duos, and squads. So we could team up and throw some spells at people. I actually won. I won a duos match and I won one on my own. I really need to try the squad mode. I haven't jumped into that too much, but it's not too bad.
Mark the play.
Awesome. So aside from in the future trying out Spellbreak, Todd, what have you been dabbling into?
I tell you guys, man, oh man, I like licensed games because occasionally they can be good, but most of the time they're horrible. And I was really hopeful for this because we have not had. I mean, I'm a big G.I. Joe fan. Bobby, were you a big G.I. Joe fan?
I love G.I. Joe, man. This is no lie. There is a live stream on YouTube of G.I. Joe. It's on the Hasbro channel. 24 hours, 7 days a week. It plays in loop, and it's just episode after episode. The commercials are out, so it's just, and I literally go to bed to that every single night. I turn it on my phone, lay in bed, go to sleep to it, and I wake up to it. I love it, man. It's so good.
That is fantastic.
Yeah,
I love the image of Bobby just like cuddled up in bed, like just like hugging his G.I. Joe bed sheets and like.
Oh, I was gonna say he's probably got those left over from when he was a little baby Bobby.
Yeah, like squeezing his Duke 12-inch action figure. He's got that all tucked in and just watching the little show. Like, it's so adorable. I love it.
The point is I'm a fan. Okay.
Bobby, I will make a recommendation. There is a Netflix series called The Toys That Made Us.
I watched it.
Did you watch it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good, Bobby.
Yes.
We have got G.I. Joe Operation Blackout that came out. It's on, I think, everything.
Yeah.
And I think this really is going back to the heart of toys and ways to promote them. They just re-released or have released a new line of action figures that are 6 inches tall. I think it's called the Black Series or something like that. They're pretty cool looking figures, but a lot of people are really into them. Charlie's hardcore into them. I'm not really. But this game is essentially to sell those toys, I think, because the models they use are exactly like the new toys, which they're pretty close to the original, so they aren't diverting too much. But man, oh man, I knew this game was going to be in trouble because it's done by Game Mill, which is the publisher, which you've never heard of, but they make crap license games. Mm-hmm. The developer is called Iguana, which has primarily made mobile games, and there was a post on PlayStation blog about this coming out. And I'm like, oh, they sound like they're big fans. And I think they are fans of the series, which is cool. So if you like fan service, I think you'll be pretty happy. But the problem is, trouble's happening when you go to cutscenes and it's those really bad, almost like comic book pages where there's a little bit of animation, but not enough. Mm-hmm. There's dialogue, but they don't move their lips. And it's the voice actors aren't bad, but it just feels like it's a little bit off. And it's kind of like, man, oh man. And it's a $40 game, so I get it. But it's like, this is owned by a $1 billion company or whatever they're worth. It's like, guys, put a little money into this.
Yeah.
But they didn't. But this game feels like it should be like a mode or a part of Fortnite. It really does. Because the way it plays, you'll love this. It's a multiplayer, local-only game. There's no online multiplayer, which sucks. Because
Especially
this would be the perfect game to play. Yeah, it'd be the perfect game to play with Bobby or, Charlie or something. Because Charlie actually bought this damn game.
Oh, wow.
And that he doesn't.
Mercy. Come on.
I know, and we could play together, but no, it's only local like the and it's like
this is Ottoman Empire all over again.
Exactly. The campaign is not co-op. But these weird multiplayer modes are, and it's so a big miss.
Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
But it's very fun. It like opens up, Bobby, on the U.S. flag.
Okay.
You see Sky Strikers. It's very cool. You can play either as Storm Shadow or Cobra Commander. You're basically invading the U.S. flag and you're trying to take it over. But the big gap is the enemies you're fighting are all of these like robots, rather than the actual Joes.
Okay.
A real Joe will show up every once in a while, like Duke shows up, and you take him out, and it's kind of like a fun little battle, but the controls aren't great. The weapons don't feel good, and it just feels like it's really lacking. So I really am sad, and for the longest time there was no reviews on Metacritic. There are now, and it's getting about a 58. So, yeah.
Right.
Whatever. You know what?
It could be worse, but that's not great.
Kids would love this, I think, because it's fun enough. Yeah.
Did you pay $40 for it? Or
no, this was a GameFly rental, thankfully.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, you talked me out of it, Todd.
Well, wait till it's like $20. Wait till it's like $20.
There's been a couple of times where I've gone to the page, watched the trailers, looked at it, and was like, man, I just don't know enough about this game to pull the trigger on it. I think he talked me out of it.
If it's free or if it's cheap, Black Friday, maybe give it a try. Yeah, it might scratch that G.I. Joe itch you haven't really been able to go after.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not like there's any other games that are readily available for this series. Like there's, there hasn't been a G.I. Joe game in a little while, right? So if that's an itch that you really need to scratch, like this will do it. And at least it's middling reviews and not like this is the worst thing since, right? Like, so that's, So, I mean, if you really have to, like, if that's your series, would you still say it's kind of worthwhile, at least renting, checking out that kind of way, or waiting till it really drops on sale, or?
Yeah, I think so, and I'm going to probably try it again because I open up the next level and you play as Lady J and Roadblock, and I want to see how they play. And they're supposedly have some unique characteristics and different classes, so I'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will say the last G.I. Joe officially released video game was G.I. Joe the movie, based on the really bad movies.
Oh, wow.
So that's there on PS3 and Xbox 360. There's probably a Wii version too. You want to check that out. But I will say this, if you can find it on, I think it's only PC, but there's a fan-made G.I. Joe game that looks like those classic Capcom side-scrolling brawlers.
Ooh.
And it is awesome. I mean, it's really cool. The music they use right from the cartoon. The characters look fantastic, and it's fan-made. It's just really fun. If you can find it, there's videos out there. I'll send you guys the link. I'll share that with the group later to show what the gameplay looks like. It's a hoot. So that's there too. Yeah, so that's what I've been playing. I had some other games too, but I will talk about those next week. But we're going to talk about some news stories. So this might be a trap. So I gave Bobby a couple of options, and he picked one. I'm like, oh crap, what are we going down with? So
it's on, Todd.
Bobby, tell us about this story.
So apparently Joe Biden and his campaign has added the Biden HQ into Animal Crossing New Horizons. Their island has poll booths, ice cream, and apparently no malarkey or something. That's what Joe Biden says when you go up to him. Basically, the article, to paraphrase some of it, is saying, with only 18 days left in the U.S. presidential election, Democrat candidate Joe Biden's campaign is launching a new virtual field office today for voters in Animal Crossing New Horizons. We are continuing to reach out to voters across the country, wherever they are, including on Animal Crossing. Christian Todd, director of digital partnerships in the Biden-Harris campaign, told The Verge in a statement. We are launching Biden HQ, an entire island on the platform where supporters can further connect in the campaign. Back a few months ago, essentially, they also did like yard signs. They did like codes that people could actually download yard signs and put them in. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about this, and I feel like I don't want this in my games. Like, I play games to escape what's going on in the real world. The last thing I want to do is go to someone's island and there's political stuff all over the place. You know what I mean? Like, and it's regardless of what campaign we're talking at the moment. I just feel like this is just begging to cause fights among people, and there's already enough fighting going on in the Animal Crossing community with some underlying stuff that's going on. But I don't know, man. There's a lot of people that want social, justice in their video games and social issues in their video games. I'm not one of those people. I just want to play a game, get in, get away from the real world, away from the news, and it's in our face 24/7. I just want to go someplace and escape it, and that's how I feel. I mean, even like when Spider-Man hit PS4, people were mad that Spider-Man was friends with the cops and stuff, and it's like, guys, like, can we not pull that reality into our games? Like, the whole idea with gaming is to escape reality, to get away from what's going on in your 9 to 5. That's just my feeling and my take on it. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but
Bobby, I think you should Pokemon Go and vote. Remember that one? That one over like a lead balloon back in the day. Yeah. Wow. I do have a question about this though. I'm a Animal Crossing expert, of course, but sometimes I miss some details. So can people just go to this island?
Because
you're like
dream
crowd
code,
control.
You go via dream address, and you can just show up at any time. Okay. And basically, what happens is you set your island up the way you want, and then you go to a character named Luna. She gives you a bed. Luna gives you this bed. You go to lay in the bed. You'll go into a dream, and then you can create a code. Essentially what happened was the Biden campaign created this island the way they wanted it to be, went to sleep. When they went to sleep and talked to Luna, they created a dream address, and then they just posted the dream address out there, and people are able to go whenever they want.
So it's not like it's live. You're interacting with basically a reproduction of an island they created. So it's not like there's other people living on this island or chatting in any way. You can just kind of see the island, see whatever messaging they either wrote on posters or on the ground or whatever. Like iwillvote.com is one of the big things that you'll see in posters. I take a slightly different approach than Bobby on this, but only slightly. In the case of another story that came up this week that we won't really touch on, but it's the non-skippable ads in was it NBA?
NBA 2K, yeah.
NBA 2K.
Non-skippable ads in a paid game.
Right. So that kind of stuff. If this was if you logged into Animal Crossing and they pitched this island in any way or pushed it on people in any way, that would drive me crazy. But because you can play Animal Crossing the way you want to, and you can choose whether or not to go to this island or have this experience or whatever, I can kind of forgive it, because if you want to play like Bobby plays, and it like Bobby is very I'm going to say expert level Animal Crossing. Mm-hmm. When I'm playing, it's a very different kind of approach to it. And listening to some of the guests, who did you say? Kalina? Yeah. Right. So you were talking to her, and she's talking about spending hours and hours chasing certain villagers and doing certain things. And when it's funny where you said, like, you want Animal Crossing to be an escape, because that, to me, the way she's playing sounds like a freaking chore.
Well, yeah. And I think
it's like grinding, right? Though.
Yeah, it's grinding. It's
grindy, right? So when I'm playing Animal Crossing, I don't want that experience. So I'd kind of rather almost, and I'm not gonna go visit Joe Biden Island. I'm Canadian. I can't vote anyway. Whatever. But so like I'm not gonna do that. I'm also not gonna do animal villager hunting or anything. So I play Animal Crossing very differently, and I think that's the core of Animal Crossing, is you can kind of play how you want to, and them leaving this as, what, if you feel like it, visit the Dream Island, fine. But the second they start to, push that in people's faces, that's when it starts to piss me off. So I like that it is kind of, here's the code.
So I think here's where I have the issue. This is where I have the issue with it. Obviously I'm involved in the Animal Crossing community. I have friends that are content creators in Animal Crossing. There's one in particular, Chase Crossing. Pretty big YouTuber, has a lot of people. He got his island pulled down by Nintendo because people were reporting his island based upon the fact that at one point when you walked up to Chase's character, it said sub to Chase. So Nintendo pulled his island down and yanked it. Now, here's the issue. You have people like Greg Miller and Gary Whitta that are promoting this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's whatever, they're doing their thing.
Are they paid for this, or are they just doing it because they want? I know they're pro vote and get stuff like that. So
well, I know Gary Whitta. Sure. Both. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? Because Greg Miller came out supporting the campaign recently, and Gary Whitta has been he's notorious for just blocking conservatives on Twitter. Yeah. But that neither here nor there. Where I have the issue is here's something that's very similar to what Chase did. Mm-hmm. And it's getting a free pass. Why? Because if Nintendo pulls this down, people are going to lose their minds.
Right.
And they put Nintendo in a no-win position where here it is. Someone could come to my island, and if I have something that promotes my YouTube channel or promotes anything that I'm doing, I get banned. But yet this is a blatant promotion, and it's okay. And that's, I think, where I kind of feel like it's not – like I have a little bit of an issue with it, just from the idea of it's not fair. It's not a fair playing field. You know what I mean?
I'll agree with you on that one for sure. Yeah, I mean,
to be honest,
iwillvote.com. That's if you can't put NintendoGuru.com on there, that's horseshit. 100%. I'm with you.
And to be fair, let's be honest. If this was the other campaign, it would be yanked within 5 seconds.
I'm curious how this fits because there's certain rules and regulations in the United States, like political calls can go to your house.
Yeah,
they're allowed to do that. You can try to block them, you can't. So I'm just curious how this fits as a commercial thing, because I think this is more like your friend got blocked probably because he's looking to make money, get subscribers, things like that. This is like not that, I guess, in a certain way. It's free advertising in a way too. So it's like I don't know what the rules are. I mean, have celebrities done the same thing? I don't know. I'm really unclear about how this works.
They've been having concerts on their islands and things like that.
Yeah, Gary Whitta has his own talk show, right?
Talk show, yeah.
Even within it. So it seems murky. Does Nintendo have like hard and fast rules? That's part of the problem, probably?
They actually do. They do have things where you're not allowed to promote, you're not allowed to push things like that. So, and that's where it's weird to me. Like, where are the lines at? Where they're kind of blurred a little bit. So I don't know. We'll have to.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that side. From quickly looking at this article, and I haven't gone to the site. Maybe I will later. Maybe I probably won't, honestly. But the I Will Vote website is from the Democratic National Committee, but from this article, it said it just provides voting information to people. Yeah. So I wonder if that's giving it a pass, like Todd said, where it's you know, it is just giving people information on how to vote, and maybe that gets a government like information pass kind of thing rather than You're right. And that's where it gets a little murky for sure. If this was just like, you know, there's Joe Biden on one end of the island and Trump on the other end of the island, maybe it would. And, you know, the purpose of the island was just to go vote no matter who you're voting for. Maybe that's a little bit better. But I do see your point, Bobby, where it's kind of double standard.
That's where, from a content creator side of things, that's where I have the issue with it.
Yeah.
Right.
If I had anything on my island, like I literally, this is no lie, like when I created my island and I knew that people were losing their islands, I literally went in and scrubbed my island and went through anything, like just searching it and looking like, is there anything off kilter here that can get me in trouble with Nintendo?
Yeah.
You know,
it'd be interesting to see if something, let's say extralife.org made an island.
Yeah.
And they were promoting Extra Life. You know, is Nintendo going to take that down because it's a charity, or are they going to, you know, leave it up because they're doing good, or is it taking down because, you know, like they're asking people for money and support and this and that and leading to different streamers? It's, you know, it's it is such a bag of worms to open up, right?
And
like
it's weird because why would you go after a content creator? But they've also had like KFC has done things,
right?
You know. So it's kind of
Korea,
weird,
right? In Korea, they did. KFC had its own thing, its store. Yeah, it's weird.
It's real weird, man.
Weird. I do have a thought though, Bobby. Really, instead of those stupid town halls that they had, they should have just had a debate in Animal Crossing.
They should,
I mean, just think, could have been great. I would have loved it.
I would have moderated.
Tom Nook, Tom Nook out there, and
I'd have had real fun with that one.
That'd be great. I love it. They could have sounded like the Animal Crossing villager peoples.
Yeah, right. Basically, how they sound anyways. What's the difference?
So we solved it. Yeah, I don't care one way or the other if it was in your face and Nintendo was promoting this and stuff like that. But it ultimately was you had to kind of go search it out yourself. So in that way, yeah, I don't mind. You know, anybody can do whatever. You know, Bobby for governor of New Jersey.
No.
Go vote. Oh,
I'd move there just to vote for you, bud.
The Garden State. Love it.
At least that's one vote. So there you go.
There you go. Yeah. Awesome. I don't think I could vote for you, Bobby, officially for Minnesota. That'd be like voter fraud. So
I got one guy willing to move to New Jersey to vote for me, and you're not even willing to do the same.
I'm ready to steal a boat and go down because I can't cross the damn border with COVID. But like, come on.
Exactly. We're just gonna move to Canada instead, Bobby. You know that.
Hey, you guys can come up.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I'll bring all our American dollars and just live like kings.
Oh, mercy. Yep.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Let's see, Mark, you've got the next story.
Yeah. So Microsoft is apparently trying to get xCloud on iOS no matter what. So I think last time we talked about Amazon's Luna service.
Yeah.
Luna, yes, there we go. Okay, got the name right. Thank goodness. Too many streaming services, too little time. Plus, yeah, as soon as I heard that one's not coming to Canada, I tuned it out. So anyway, Xbox apparently trying to take a page out of their book and go through maybe a web app. Because as we've discussed, Apple and their App Store rules are prohibiting game streaming services and basically trying to push people towards Apple Arcade, and it's a whole bunch of bullshit. And they said they are changing the rules, but the rule change basically amounted to nothing because you still had to have an individual app for every single game on the service, which was just
200 simple apps, Mark. That's all it is.
That's all. Anyway, so apparently Microsoft is just going to bypass Apple's bullshit and go through a web app, which I don't know the technical limitations on a web app, but it seems to be working for Google Stadia. Last time I mentioned a web browser that was specifically made for Stadia called Stadium Browser that's available on the iPad right now.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I haven't tried that one out yet, but I should. And even just get Stadia for a month to just see how it works or whatever. Yeah, so I don't know what that means for controller integration or if there's anything like that, but hopefully Microsoft can figure it out and they can just kind of get this working as quickly as possible, I guess. One exciting thing that just happened right before we started recording, Microsoft has updated their Xbox app, and they are allowing you to stream to your iPhone or your iPad.
But it's
console streaming.
Console.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
So it is console. That is live right now. If you're listening to this, try it out if you have an Xbox. Sadly, I can't test this one out anymore, which
can't, Mark.
Killing me right now.
You're a traitor. You sold your Xbox. You're never going back.
I really wish I could just try this out just to see how it works and see how it feels and whatever else. But yeah, apparently it's right in the app. It's able to go over Wi-Fi, direct connection. You can turn the system on through the app and all that kind of stuff. Access your full library, access your Xbox. So that's kind of cool. Apparently, yeah, you can queue up games, view and stream your clips like normal and all that kind of stuff. And they just added this to that app. So hopefully either Apple bends their rules a bit and just says, you know what, fine, streaming services, you guys can come on here, or Microsoft figures this out. Like I said, if someone does have some experience with either Stadia or Luna or some kind of browser-based streaming service on an iPad or iOS device, please let us know. Like I said, I'll try to maybe test one out if I get a chance and just kind of see how it works, because I still have the Xbox controller. I have the iPad. I'm ready to go. I just need a test ground, basically. So we'll keep a close eye on this one. I know I'll be very, very interested to see how this is going. So if there's any news, you'll hear about it here. But that's basically the update for the day.
Yeah, and it's neat because Stadia right now will run on a Chrome browser. That kind of works. And it was neat because we found out that the new Google TV, the Android device, which is actually pretty cool. It's neat that they added. It doesn't support Stadia from launch, but you can sideload it apparently by using the browser. So dumb.
Super
but know
weird.
What also works on that device? You can run xCloud off of that on your TV. I'm like, that is so weird. The world is strange.
Did you guys see the guy running Doom on his refrigerator through
the Samsung refrigerator screen?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Really?
Yes.
So cool. Xbox controller and a refrigerator with a screen built into it, and it's running some sort of Samsung OS or whatever. And yeah, he was able to load xCloud on there and play frickin' Doom on his fridge. So anytime I make fun that Doom is available on everything, including your toaster, I'm not that far off.
And not the old Doom, but the new Doom.
No, the new, like 2016 Doom. Yeah, like straight up just running on a frickin' refrigerator. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it. It's great.
But I can't get it running on my $1,500 iPad Pro. Like, Jesus. Come on.
I love it.
Here comes the Sony Pony topic of the week. Let's go, Todd.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take this in a very dignified fashion, Bobby.
Oh,
so
I'm sure we are dignified.
Relax.
Dignified trash over here. Come on.
Sit back and relax.
We didn't try this, but we got a Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation. This is great.
I love this. Yeah,
save the worst for last.
Yes. Thank you, Bobby. So PlayStation has finally apparently woke up and said, oh, we're launching a console in a month. I guess you want to find out what's on it versus our Kickstarter that we haven't been telling you what's on it. So here it is, kids, and they're dripping it out. Thankfully we didn't get another Wired article because that'd been awesome. But no, this has come out the very weirdest way. It first came out with, out of a sudden on the PlayStation blog, here's a teardown of the PlayStation 5. And gents, I'm trying to remember when official teardowns actually happen. I think someone mentioned it was the Xbox One X, I think, was the first official teardown. Is that true?
I don't know. To me, what the hell? Why are we all of a sudden worried about tearing down a piece of equipment? Like, why is that making such huge news to me?
I don't know.
I mean, never got I understand it after launch, like iFixit or something.
Yeah.
They do great teardowns, and it's they're like, here's what's inside it, because most companies won't tell you. These guys doing it, and I love how both companies did it, and they both are like, don't do this, but here's how you do it.
There you go. Yeah.
Like, this will void your warranty, but here's all the instructions to do it yourself. Like, Jesus Christ, I don't care. Just show me playing some games or something.
That's the thing. Weird. Okay, so that's the thing that I'm not to cut your momentum off, Todd, but that's the thing that has me, I guess, the most frustrated behind this is that, like, they've been showing a bunch of games, but nothing seems to be console exclusive to either one. They have a couple of games that are kind of made, like, the whole messaging has been so convoluted, and you don't know what the hell's going on. I can honestly tell you that I have no idea what game is going to be on what console starting at launch. It's an exclusive. Like, it's just it's a mess.
Well, Bobby, we will fill you in on the next episode because Mark and I are going to do a launch special and walk through everything because my friend Sean and his son Henry has been waiting to hear about that. So we're going to talk about that. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. As of right now, I believe finally Xbox Series has finally shown a next-gen game, and that's Dirt 5. So they've been showing that, which is great. And on PlayStation, they showed the Sackboy. No, it was the Astrobot game.
But they showed Sackboy too a little bit for the UI thing, didn't they? Because they were showing off the UI, and then they showed Sackboy for how to do like the hint thing that's built into the UI and the something other, whatever it was. Anyway,
Yeah. So the PlayStation, they did the teardown. We now know why this thing is the size of the Titanic. It's huge. It's about 15 inches wide. It's about 15 inches long. The Xbox Series X is about 12. So this is the biggest console in the world. Maybe the Neo Geo was bigger. I don't know. I don't care. I own the Atari 5200. The thing was so big, it had a holder for your controllers. So I don't know. Apparently, the Japanese people are no longer afraid of big consoles. Because remember in Xbox,
I am curious to see. I'm curious to see how both of these work in Japan, but especially like PlayStation. That's their home turf. Are they actually accepting, or is PlayStation just really screwing themselves here, releasing this massive Khalifa Tower?
I'm not gonna lie. I really think that they are screwing themselves to Nintendo. Like in Japan, I mean, I think Nintendo is just going to continue to sell like gangbusters over there because, again, they're not really Japanese homes are small. They're not big. Their apartments are super small. It's like New York City, man. There is no way people are going to be buying these massive. Dude, they're bigger than your damn entertainment centers.
Their homes aren't even big enough for their Labo.
Yeah, pretty much.
They can't even imagine those Mario Kart live maps are only like the size of a shoebox. It just goes around in circles. I really don't know. Japan just seems like a weird market. It just seems like consoles are kind of just on the way out there, and they kind of have been. Yeah. So, so it's a weird one. You're going to have to find a place to store both of these consoles because they're going to put out a lot of heat. So essentially, I don't know many. My media center has an 8-inch gap. I don't know many 12 or 15-inch media centers that have that much of a gap. So you're going to probably go sideways. And then hopefully it's big enough. Mine is fully open, so I don't have any problem at all. But some people have like IKEA cubes. Neither are great. Yeah, neither are great.
Installing like cooling units into their actually putting cooling units into their entertainment centers to try to keep these things down. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Alan Paxton.
I was just gonna say Alan just did a little shout out to Alan.
Put fans on the back so it draws out the heat, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's insane that we have to do that. Yeah. I mean, like
there are mini PCs now. There are mini PCs. It's really crazy. Nintendo basically did mobile, so it's definitely a divide. But you did see what Sony's doing to keep these things running cool and quiet. Huge fan and a huge heatsink with liquid metal, which is just crazy because I think then T2 is going to come out of that, or that Terminator that was liquid metal. It's going to come out of that. This is how it starts, Bobby. The world is coming to an end.
T1000.
It was a T1000, yeah.
Yeah.
T1000
Here's the thing.
Liquid metal.
Like my PlayStation now, my PlayStation 4 sounds like a freaking rocket ship is getting ready to take off.
Oh yeah.
Like, and they're not small consoles. I know this thing is massive compared to it, but like, dude, how are these things going to sound when you really get a game working on it?
Well, they showed
apparently
that. They're whisper quiet. Quieter than when they don't run that much hotter. Actually, they showed the Series X. It actually runs a little bit lower decibels and actually less heat than the X1, 1X.
And the PS Pro, yeah.
But this is launch day. Like, this is brand new. Like, what's it going to be like in 6 months from now?
Well, I'll tell you.
Hopefully they'll be easy to dust out.
One system that is really loud is I had an Xbox 360, and I thought the disc was going to launch out of that system. It was so loud. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So it come a ways. I'll take that.
I think people said that when playing Last of Us 2, if you didn't play it on a Pro, it sounded like that.
I can imagine.
Like the disc was getting ready to pop out of it.
Pushing these systems.
Yeah, it's pushing the system.
I mean, yeah.
The Fortnite loading menu makes my PS4 sound like it's going to take off. Like, it's ridiculous.
I mean, look, I think it's an interesting time that we're in when it comes to new hardware and all this stuff. But I am just so perplexed by the whole handling of these. It was almost like, well, it was. It wasn't even like almost like it was. It was Xbox and PlayStation in this like basically wild west where two guys gunslingers are at the end of the roads and they're sitting there staring at each other to see who's going to shoot first. And it's like, and then one would kind of shoot but not really shoot, and then the other one would kind of shoot but not shoot. It was like, dude, just show us what the hell you're doing. Mm-hmm. It's insane.
It's weird because Xbox essentially duplicated what PlayStation with the PS4, where they announced it at the very beginning of the year, which was the Game Awards this time, and they've essentially had a steady stream of information, which worked well for a while, but then they had some stumbles, and then Sony just held back and like, why isn't Sony coming out? And Sony's like, why would we come out early so people can just pick it apart and do this? We don't like the Switch. I'm glad. I mean, look at the Switch did. They came out in 3 months. They announced and then they launched, and it's like that's not a bad thing to do.
Mm-hmm. I've been on record to saying, I've said this to Sean a couple times on a Cup of Joe and Nintendo. My feeling is that both consoles should have just delayed, should have just pushed back. They're so gung ho on we have to be here during the holiday, but you look at the success that Nintendo had launching in March with the Switch. It doesn't have to be in the holiday, and I think my personal feeling is. Man, you have the perfect excuse with COVID. Just push back. Don't be in a rush to put you, because it's obvious that you're not ready. I mean, Xbox pushing Halo back shows you're not ready to launch. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me why they're in this race to be the first to come out, and it's like, not only that, like, you can tell they're also not ready, but the fact that pre-orders were blown out the doors in literal seconds. So that means there's no inventory here. I'm confused by this whole year in terms of, like, normally when we have consoles that are getting ready to launch, the hype levels are through the roof because of the fact of, like, we're getting pumped with information. We know what's happening. We know when it's happening. We have an idea how many consoles are going to be there at launch. They didn't even talk about the number of consoles that'll be available for purchase. They said, they even said we'll have plenty during pre-orders. Man, well, if that was plenty during pre-orders, I'd hate to see what none are, because that was bad. So I'm I mean, I hate to sound like I'm beating up on both of these guys, but I really am confused by their strategies. It just blows me away. It's almost like they're not launching a console.
Yeah, I think we're in an interesting position because we thought the last generation was long. This is just as long. It's 7 years again.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point where, let's put it this way, people just lose interest with what's out there. So if they want something new to get excited. Switch didn't have the same issue because they were coming off the Wii U where people were like, didn't pay attention, they didn't know the hardcore into it, and it spread and it was exciting.
Yeah, but people were also counting Nintendo out.
Absolutely.
They were like, hey, if this doesn't work, they're going third party. What's this NX? It's not going to work.
Yeah.
And then when they said we're going to launch in March, people were like literally just trashing them. Like, this is the dumbest thing in the world. You can't do that. And it's worked. You know what I mean? Like, they're killing it right now. So, I don't know.
That timing also gave them time to build into games, and then they could, which was great. In the fall, it did a lot of good things for Nintendo, and it made a lot of sense.
I mean, to be fair, it's not even like PlayStation. Like, they stopped. They did something very similar to Nintendo. But then when it comes time to launch the console, there's no games. So it's like, what the hell you been doing for the last year and a half? It just doesn't make sense to me. We know what Microsoft is doing. They're just buying up everybody under the sun.
Absolutely.
Get ready. So it's like, it's a strange time, man.
Yeah, you definitely see the messaging. And actually, that's a good condition. I mean, basically, so we know what the system looks like now. You can open it up, put a new NVMe drive to add additional storage versus the original PlayStation where you actually had to take out the drive. So you lost that initial storage and had to put a new one in. So this way it's additive. You just take off the sides. The sides are removable. And eventually we'll probably get good looking PlayStations eventually.
When I bought my PS4, it was an Arkham Knight edition. I literally didn't even turn it on until I went and bought I think I bought a 2 terabyte internal and installed a new hard drive in it because I was just like, this hard drive.
I think I had just done that, right? And I think I sent you the directions. We both did around the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did the same thing, and I think I hooked the PlayStation hard drive into the casing of the other hard drive that I bought, and then hooked that up to my Wii U.
Yeah, I did that too.
If I'm not mistaken,
yeah. It's an extra hard drive. Put it in an enclosure. You're good to go. Exactly. I think that's what's in my. Yeah, I think that's there too. So, but then we go into the next area, which is backwards compatibility. Microsoft, this has been their forte since 2015. Everything's moving forward. We're good to go. People were scared as crap with PlayStation. What's going to mean? Sometimes it was many. Now it's most. And now we know like 8 games won't be coming. And the only game I'm sad about is Shadow Complex. Why isn't that getting ported? Who knows?
My big question is, why have they been so sketchy about this? Like, if there's only 8 games, why have they been so dodgy about this question and letting Xbox be like, basically, like, Xbox this generation, if you remember hey, do you want to, like, trade games? Here you go. This is how to do it on a PlayStation. Like, Sony's been handing them this generation's version of that, which, like, Xbox is like, hey, you want to play your old games? You can play them. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, PlayStation this whole time has been like, I don't know, maybe, man. Like, I guess, maybe. You know, because
ultimately they turned into Nintendo, you know, where they go like, hey, you know, where's Virtual Console? Maybe we'll have it. I don't know where it is. Maybe it'll be here. I don't know where it is. It's like this back and forth thing where technically they should have come out the gates and been like, hey, we are going to have backwards compatibility. But the problem is they can't because it's not really backwards compatible. You know, it's kind of like the Nintendo thing. Like, oh, we're going to bring you Super Nintendo games. We're going to bring you 5 this month and then 1 next month and then maybe 2 the month after that. Like, that's the way it feels like it's going to be with this.
I know Microsoft put out there, like they said, we've put 200,000 hours into testing backwards compatibility. Yeah. This is Sony's first hurrah. This is the first system they've got that's x86 going to x86. So in a way, it makes sense. They don't want to stumble and say, hey, everything's backward, and then somebody plays G.I. Joe Operation Blackout. And it doesn't work or dies or something bad happens. So I'm guessing they were just being conservative because they didn't want, Xbox fanboys saying, look at Sony, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and I'm not a huge backwards compatible fan because I have so many old games that there's a reason probably why I didn't play the first time is because they weren't that interesting. So I'm always looking forward. And so at this instance, it's a nice to have, but I'll be curious once again to see. I mean, the good thing about this gen, it sounds like Series X obviously will do things amazingly automatically to games, add HDR, things like that. PlayStation will have boost mode. They've already talked about some of their hardcore games, like Ghost of Tsushima will now get upgraded to 60 FPS, blah, blah, blah. So overall, I'm excited because it just means that I no longer have to worry about what I'm leaving behind and can move forward. It's great, whether I play them or not.
That's exactly it. I think if they had just come out from the start and said, whatever number percentage or whatever of games, like, don't worry about it. Yes, they're going to work. Like, we'll come up with a list of games that won't, but it's going to be a very small list. If they were just honest and outright with that from the start. But I wonder if Bobby is onto something. Maybe they were trying or thinking about something Nintendo-wise of like, no, we're going to sell these games back to you, or we're going to, do a very Nintendo thing. And then Xbox came out with like, nah, it's all free. You can have this. You can do this. We're going to up-res this and HDR that and whatever. And, Sony now is kind of left with like, well, shoot, we have these games running, but we were going to try to PlayStation Now the hell out of this back library. Like, I guess we got to change that tune. So I wonder if this was a last minute scramble of like, they had the games running, but they were trying to kind of nickel and dime people about how to get them to run, kind of like something Nintendo would do. Yeah. And they've seen everything with Xbox and they've heard the fans, and maybe they had to change their tune. So
I don't know, Mark. I think does this sound good? What is it, a $2 upgrade fee like they did on the Virtual Console to get on the
right? Right. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Like, I wonder if PlayStation's like going that route, whether it is PlayStation Now or an upgrade fee or this or that or whatever. I'm wondering if they had something like that in the works and they've had to scrap it, similar to last gen, like Xbox having to scrap Kinect and this and that because they just knew it wasn't going to work, right? Like, I'm kind of curious. I'd love to be in the backroom meetings of why this has taken so long. And the cynic of me says Sony was trying to do something where they'd charge people for these, and now they can't.
To be fair, too, I think the one key thing that nobody's really talking about is they also overturned a lot of their employees on the top. Right. And that all took place. So I wonder if the original direction would have been one way, and then all of a sudden we got screwed and we had to figure out what we're going to do to redirect. So it could be that too, where because of that hiccup, you don't have somebody like a Phil Spencer that's pushing the ball along and carrying the ball the whole time. You have, it starts off with Sean Layton and then it changes up very quickly. And it went a while without a president and they didn't know what the hell was going on. So it could be very, it could be like that. That's what went down.
Yeah. So it's just something we're happy to have, and I do have PS Now, so I can still play PS2 games. I can play PS3 games. So essentially, except for the PS1, which they just need to do a Virtual Console for those games because they know how to port those and emulate those because they done the PS Classic horribly, but they need to get there too. Because I'm hoping. Yeah.
So speaking of things that do look amazing, though, what do you guys think of the UI?
I actually haven't seen it yet. Is there?
Oh, you? No. It's cool. It's really neat.
Cool?
It looks very similar like the cross media bar, but what they've done they went to a series of cards. So essentially, you've still got your games, but when you go into a game, you've got a variety of things you can do, and it's still got trophies. But what it's added is really interesting. They basically added game help, Bobby. So it tells you essentially if you've done something or you're trying to get towards something, it tells you how much time you'll have left to complete that task. And it actually will have videos you can watch on how to do it if you want.
Okay.
And then within that also as well, if you're playing a game and you want to chat with your buddies, you can do it directly from any game. And not only that, if you want to, and you're playing the same game, and you're like, hey, can you tell me where you're at? Well, I don't have to tell you. I can actually show you. You can do your video in the PS thing. So you can see what your friend is doing. So like in Fortnite, Bobby, where the hell are you at? Show me. So he shows you where you're at, and you go to
picture in picture.
That's pretty. I'm watching it now.
It's kind of cool.
It just popped up on YouTube. It's pretty spectacular.
It looks spectacular for sure. My concern again with some of these things that PlayStation's doing, like the controller that I mentioned, that I love the haptic feedback buttons, and I'm loving what they're doing with a lot of this stuff, like the game help. I'm wondering where third-party support will be. Obviously, first-party support, they're going to be pushing this on their internal studios. Is Call of Duty going to have picture-in-picture videos help through? Is, Assassin's Creed going to have this? Are all of these multi-platform big AAA games from third parties or even indie games going to take advantage of this? Or is it going to be the same thing that we've been doing for a couple of generations of, hey, I'm stuck in this part, let's look up a YouTube video of how to do it? I love the picture-in-picture. I'm worried it's not going to be utilized to its full extent, because as it was displayed, it looks amazing. And I really hope that it is. The same thing I said with the haptic triggers. Hope that studios take advantage of this and put in the extra dev time and all that kind of stuff. But we'll kind of see how it progresses, and I really hope that it does work. But again, that little devil's advocate side, I want to ask you guys, do you think devs will put in the extra time to take advantage of these figures a year or two in?
I think the tools are there, though, so I don't think it's going to be a very difficult thing to do. I think it's their screen saving. I think those are tools they've got to use, and it seems like that's a little bit of effort that, quite honestly, this is part of your PS Plus subscription, because it's online features and things like that.
That's the other thing.
I think there's some incentive to do it, but ultimately, I'm just glad it's there. If anybody doesn't use it, then fans can bitch and say, do this. You should support this, kind of like other features like an Xbox and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm hoping, again, I'm really hoping this takes off, and I'm hoping it's something that Xbox can learn from. Nintendo's almost a lost cause at this point with some of their online stuff. We're lucky that we can connect to the internet with their consoles, so I'm going to leave it at that. But I think Sony's doing some really, really cool stuff with the UI overall here.
Yeah.
It's really amazing to see just the different approaches. Xbox has been evolving the Xbox One to where it is now. They just got an upgrade. The Xbox One and the Series X will be very similar. It's refined and looks great, and it's very smooth and familiar. Sony is kind of taking something that's kind of familiar, but doing a lot of other things to it that are kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I appreciate both approaches.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But, before we leave, because Bobby's got a hot date, we talked about this earlier, we want, it's Halloween time. So very quickly, I want one Halloween or scary game memory. Go back as far as
Bobby,
you want.
go ahead.
I mean, the only really scary game I think I've ever played, and I don't really feel like it's a super scary game, so don't feel like this is the case. But probably Last of Us. The first couple of times I played it, the clicker scared the hell out of me. Like, it just, I remember playing the first time, couldn't really get a grasp on what the hell was going on. Just hearing the clicking around me was very creepy, and then getting attacked by them every time I made a sound. Like, they really, for the first quarter of that game, scared me immensely. It isn't until you get to the tail end of the game that you start to I got nothing to worry about with these things. But I mean, you do, but you don't. You kind of know your way around and how to take them out. But like in the early goings, man, when you hear them, and it's just like, oh my God, these things are so just, and if you played that game in the dark wearing headsets, like, oh my God, dude, you can hear them behind you, and it's creepy, man. It's creepy. But that's probably my, but I love that game. That game is, to me, definitely in my top 5 of all time. Probably my number 2 or number 3 game of all time, and I love it. I love it.
Mark, what about you?
Awesome. I have to go back to Resident Evil, because how can you not talk about scary games and not go back to Resident Evil? Specifically for me, my memories of Resident Evil go back to GameCube, the release there. They upped the graphics, they upped the ante of everything, and it was my first time playing Resident Evil, and one of the first nights that I ever played Resident Evil was during a thunderstorm. So perfect. I'm home alone in the basement, which is where my bedroom was, set up with my GameCube. It's it's the best of times, and I'm starting up for whatever reason in the middle of this GD thunderstorm at night, playing Resident Evil, and I'm going through and I'm like creeping through and I'm just like, this is the dumbest thing. I should just be playing Smash Brothers. Let's just like, why am I not watching a Disney movie right now? And this freaking dog bursts through the window and like, just, depends. That's all I can say. Just, well, like, but that game was just so atmospheric and creepy and has aged so well with the re-release, especially that it's when I think horror in video games, that's the one. And like I played PT that didn't scare me nearly as much as Resident Evil did the first time playing, when you don't know when those jump scares are, the first time a zombie jumps up at you. It's so good.
Play 7, Mark?
No.
Okay. That would make you poop your pants. Because it also made me do it. But I'm going to go back to a game on the PlayStation 1. And this is just a really creepy little Japanese game called Clock Tower. I don't know if you guys have seen this game. You need to watch a video of it. But it's a really bad looking game. And you're this girl that's trying to survive. And the serial killer is trying to get you. And it's this little freaky dude with big old, like, hedge trimmers or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And this horrible noise. It's horrible noise. And it sounds horrible and nasty. And it's like, oh my God, it's so freaky. And he just pop out of the blue and would just freak the crap out of me. And it didn't look that realistic at all. By all means, it's all polygons pointing and everything.
Yeah, it's a very PlayStation 1 looking game.
Oh, it's so weird and strange.
Definitely looks creepy though.
Oh, it's so weird. But check that out, guys. I mean, there's lots of great memories. So if you have any cool Halloween memories of games, video games, dressing up as Halloween characters, let us know. And we can definitely recommend you other games as well to take out when you are gaming this fall. Maybe some Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Absolutely.
I need to finish that game. Okay. Well, that is it for the show. But before we go, Bobby, I think this is exciting for you too, because you were part of this event last year. Phoenix Overdrive Nation, Lee Navarro, a good friend of us, Ray Azorio. They've been doing this charity event for years for Extra Life, and they had people out last year. This is a big hit to them this year without COVID. They can't have people out, but they are still going strong, and we want to do our part to make sure people know about this charity. They're doing something pretty awesome. We'll share the link with everybody so you can access this, but they're giving away 3 consoles, PS5, Xbox Series X, and Switch Lite. $25 to get you in a raffle. This is awesome. All proceeds will be going to the Mohawk Valley Health System, a Children's Miracle Network hospital through Extra Life. Obviously, this is awesome. They'll announce the winner on December 13th. #Rise Above. Please support them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sean
Head over to phoenixoverdrive.com.
Yeah, we're Sean and I are helping the cause again this year. He's actually I'm going to push people to his link rather than I having a link and him having a link. We're going to push people to his link the day of it. I'm going to jump in, stream some. He's going to stream some. We're going to play games together. But every time that I'm streaming, I'm just going to push everybody over to his link to try to get people to do it. He's got a bunch of giveaways from Steel Series, and Xbox came through and gave him a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to come through with some stuff and put it in there as well, but it's going to be pretty spectacular. And, that team, that Phoenix Overdrive team is like no other, man. They are huge. They're massive. They got a crazy drive. Like, they are just full of pumped up energy, man. It is amazing. So hopefully next year we can do it like we did last year, where we all get together and do it, which I would encourage both of you guys to get a part of that and come out.
Somebody needs to help me out. I've never streamed before.
If you Todd, you just come to the event, and we will make it happen.
I was so close. If you remember, Bobby, I was so close to going down last year.
Yeah.
And I had just gotten back from Disney, spent all my money in Disney World. We had just found out that Loren was pregnant. Yeah. And if it wasn't for both of those kind of coming together, like if it was just Disney, I was this close to going. If I didn't just spend all that money and she just found out I possibly would have, but both of those combined, I was like,
next year, if we can kick COVID's ass and get COVID out of here next year, when we do this big thing together, I would love to have both of you guys there with us, and it would be amazing, man. It was such a blast.
Bobby, you won't be able to control yourself when you're around us.
I know, man. I know.
I went so far as to like map out the drive down there. Like I was gonna drive down, like I had the whole thing mapped out, ready to go, and I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. But I would absolutely love to. And I think it's amazing. And like Phoenix Overdrive is so cool because most people that participate in Extra Life, it's like they're podcasting or streaming and they participate in Extra Life. Phoenix Overdrive wanted to do Extra Life and then everything else came after.
And they just do Extra Life. Yeah. This is their primary.
Just wild, right? Like they're so like charity minded. It's amazing.
Yeah. What I feel is most podcasters and streamers and stuff use it as a way to prop publicity up what they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. It's publicity. These guys are totally different, where the fact of like they only created the podcast that they do and all that stuff is a way to get it out there that they were doing something.
That's it was
a way to promote the charity.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. They're not doing – and they only pop the podcast back up as it gets time to start doing the push again. Like I've never seen a group of people – so like just give. Don't even think about it. They just want to give and help. It's amazing.
Yeah, I even let Lee on this podcast talk about PC. Yeah, he's a good guy.
I love Lee.
If you haven't heard Sean's We the Gamercast with Rebecca Ruben Navarro, go check that out. I know Bobby's supposed to be pitching his stuff now, but I'm going to pitch Sean's because that was a great episode. They talk about Extra Life. Yep. They talk about the reasoning behind it. Now, Bobby, you can pitch your stuff.
I can pitch my stuff? Okay. So you can check me out over at Nintendo Gurus, over on Twitter, over on Instagram, as well as on Twitch, twitch.tv/Nintendo Gurus. Also, I have my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Nintendo Guru. I do videos, like 4 to 5 days a week. We're doing streaming like 3 to 4 times a week. We do 2 or 3 different podcasts. We do. It's crazy. We got all kinds of content coming out. So it'd be awesome if you guys could just take a little gander. Just pick a little piece off and take a look at it.
For sure.
He's the best in the biz when it comes to Animal Crossing. Check him out, guys.
Absolutely. If you want to follow us, you can follow us at co_opmode_pod or Toxtra or at _Canardian, all on Twitter. Of course, you can follow the Secret Friends Unite Facebook group or Secret Friends page. And if you want your voice to be heard, whether it's a game review, some news, or a scary Halloween game memory or something that you want to share with us, you can actually call in 872-225-2496 and leave us a 3-minute or less voicemail, which we can play on the show.
Yeah, we've had some great reviews for the podcast. We love it. We've got a groupie, Mark, little Henry Nias. We're going to talk about the launch of the consoles because he wants to know everything.
Sounds great. I'm looking forward to that.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And remember, it's always better to game together.
The evil murderer slashed to death.
With a knife?
No, it sounds crazy, but it looks like they were killed with a giant pair of scissors. The giant scissors once again search for prey. A trail of terror stretches across Europe, from Norway to England.
Here it is, the Barrows Mansion. We have to go there and look around, or we'll never solve the mystery of Scissornet.
You've got to be joking. It's way too dangerous.
As long as he's alive, we're not saying anything else.
One after another, the horrifying murders continue. Who will make it through this game of murder alive? Clock Tower.
PlayStation